This channel has to do with the Great Convergence. This is about the twin flame energy, the divine masculine and divine feminine energy. Now, I think a lot of people have strong feelings about the twin flame energy, just like they do about religion and politics, because it has a huge impact on people's lives. It has to do with our beliefs. And a lot of people have seen others or themselves may have become consumed with the idea of believing that they have met someone who is their twin flame, and that causes them to tolerate or put up with a lot of abuse and just toxicity within a relationship. I acknowledge that that happens. But then a lot of people, I think they break away and they're like, you know what, there's no such thing as a twin flame. Or again, I think people just have very strong feelings about whether they believe it's a thing or not. I think it's something that goes beyond our beliefs, because this is talking about the energy. And from an energetic perspective, there absolutely are twin flame souls, souls that when they are not in this 3D reality, they are united as one. But when you come down to earth, when you come down to the 3D, they split into masculine, feminine, yin and yang kind of energy. So this is a merging of those energies, and this, in order, what's simultaneously happening is the yin and the yang, the masculine and feminine. You can even see this in like the merging of the genders. People are wanting to become transgender, transracial. They're moving away. Society, humanity, this paradigm, whether the old mindset likes it or not, is moving away from that dyadic binary kind of life and mindset and belief. And it's seeing the fluidity of energy. It's seeing it sort of like as it exists, which is on a polarity. It's not either or. You do have those either or extremes, but there's a connection within them. And what's happening to humanity is the great convergence is this connection is happening on a multi-dimensional level. You see a convergence happening with the planets. You see sort of like, again, the genders kind of meshing together. Even you can see it on, first of all, a race, ethnicity. Those are social constructs, things that humans have taught themselves about the world, about how they see the world. Like, these are ideas that were developed by someone who said, okay, this is how we're going to see things. This is a belief that has sort of like one of those beliefs that now are seen as like a law. But centuries ago, race was not a thing. Even in certain countries, you can look at people. There's countries where there's a lot of diversity. So regardless of skin complexion, you still identify with this group, with this people. So again, you see this blending, this idea of everything existing and being connected happening in a convergence. And this energy is not easily put together because of the extremes that have happened, right? Because it exists on a polarity, which is the sort of, if you think about like a continuum, that middle section is easier to come together because they're close. It's very similar. But the more, sort of like you think about the North Pole, the South Pole, but the more those things come together, like the extreme heat meeting the extreme cold, it's just such difference that it can seem like it's almost like a repulsion, like a repelling. When this energy first tries to come together, it's like when you have that one, when you're trying to put together a positive and negative side of a magnet, and it's like pushing. That is what is happening in the energy. And it's almost like it's changing physics. It's changing our understanding. It's going to change our understanding of physics. It's going to change everything. It is going to what's happening right now is shattering the deepest beliefs that people have held in their hearts. And that's why shadow workers are being activated. That is why ascending masters, there are people all over the globe who are being activated right now. And what I mean by activation is something is happening in your energy. The sun is definitely giving off a lot of light codes, a lot of solar rays. From like a scientific perspective, you can look at what's happening with the northern lights, which is usually isolated to one location and is now spreading farther than it has ever spread before, right? So it's energy. This energy is being just sprayed and showered into the human collective because this convergence needs to happen. So opposites are coming together, extremes, polarities are coming together. Things that have seemed like they could never come together are beginning to unite and come together. And it's interesting because in coming together, it's going to seem so right. It's going to seem like it's going to ascend, right? Because humanity right now, Gaia, the earth, is trying to move out of the 3D. The masculine energy on the planet is trying to keep the human collective, is very desperately pulling the human collective down because that energy wants to remain in the 3D because that is where they have the most power. They want to remain in the 3D. Because what happens in the 5D is that feminine energy, there is a huge ascension happening. The divine feminine energy she has maintained the divinity in the energy during this last cycle, right? If we think about this as a circle, because this is also something that happened on the opposite end when humanity went from more of a 5D reality to a 3D reality. So where the divine feminine had a lot of the power and control, most of the power and control, and then the masculine did, right? So basically when we say something is a patriarch society versus a matriarch society. So the masculine energy again is desperately trying to keep humanity stuck down. You can see this happening in politics, make America great again. Really it's talking about going back, right? And that was a huge part of the campaign. We will not go back. And, I think there's also a way that the masculine energy is trying to keep the human collective down is through illusion, right? The masculine energy is giving off this illusion of control, this illusion of power, but really that's not. There is power and control in an aspect, but there's this illusion that they have it in all of the dimensions, and that's not true, right? So basically, because the masculine energy has not yet reached their divinity. I believe they reached their divinity at one point, but they use this divinity and they become they became corrupted by the power of it, by the control of it. And I think that this is more of an attack on humanity kind of thing, because what's happening is the masculine is going to reach their divinity because a lot of the behind the scenes sort of there's energy behind the scenes that had this pull and this tug and this grip on the masculine energy, keeping them kind of stuck in it, right? A lot of those behind the scene energies is fear, like, so any kind of energy that thrives on the energy of fear is something that's keeping the masculine down. So this doesn't always, like, some people will look at this as like, oh, like reptilians or the grays, or just energies who are like keeping men in power because they know that that keeps humanity down when there is this imbalance of power and this imbalance in resources that are being distributed around the world instead of equality and unity and abundance for all, which is what the mother energy offers, right? When there is an equal distribution of power, there is an ascension in humanity, right? So I think you can see it on that level, but at its deepest, it's just fear. It's just fear. And the thing about fear is fear can be overcome when you're able to look at it. And that's why, there are energies that are trying, darker energies that are being revealed that are, stopping, again, just fear. Fear, but then maybe influence. And basically, the masculine energy is battling their demons. And they've kept their demons with them because their demons give them the illusion of power. But they are battling their demons, and the only way that any masculine energy on this planet is going to ascend is if they are able to battle their demons. So be able to look at their darker energies. I mean, the masculine energy is so broken, right? They break each other. They're the things that they do to each other. They're very broken. The wars that they have fought with each other, the way that they have mutilated and harmed each other. And then, the women, just the things that they have done from abusing the power. Being able to look at that You know, like men who create the most heinous, men who do the most heinous things and just create a lot of pain and foul and just a lot of negativity. It's almost like a loss for words, which is what's coming up. Like just unspeakable things. And I think that's, it's considered unspeakable because if someone were to look at what they have done, it's like, how can you move forward? How can you live knowing what you have done? And that is what a lot of masculine energies are going to have to grapple with. That is what they have to face. They have to face what they have done in this life and past lives, and it's having a ripple effect too, because those energies that were using them like puppets are going to have to face what they did. It is judgment all around. And it is judgment because the divine feminine energy has called judgment on the masculine energy, because the goal is the ascension of humanity, and that is the twin flame contract. Here to ascend humanity. So if you are here, you know, if the watchers come down and instead of watching ascending, they start overindulging and they want to keep it this way, then it becomes an issue. So there are a lot of higher level beings that are helping the divine feminine right now. So if you are a divine feminine energy who is clairvoyant, claircognizant, clairsentient, if your third eye is open, then you're seeing, you're getting visions, you're feeling new energies, you're having the dreams, you're hearing the messages, following your intuition. You have the divine feminine energies. A lot of divine feminine energies are healed, but for those who want to ride this ascension where you are in your power and authenticity, it's just a beautiful time for the divine feminine energy. So you might as well be healed. You have to come into your authenticity. You have to be able to look at the things that you have done, because in the same way that masculine energies have been corrupted and twisted by the energy of fear and hatred and shame, that was twisting and manipulating the masculine energy, it has happened to the feminine energy as well, being controlled, almost like a brainwashing kind of thing. And then, even when you have been brainwashed, being able to look at what you have done. It's almost like something that when you think of dissociative identity disorder, and then if someone has like a very violent identity, but they've blocked it from themselves for so long, to the point where now, their psyche split. Being able to face what you have done. Because when you can compartmentalize yourself like that, when you can completely be blind to heinous things that you do, then you can continue to do even worse things. Again, that's just like the message is saying, like it feels like unspeakable. Being able to commit unspeakable acts. Unspeakable acts are being brought to light. And there are some energies out there who have done unspeakable acts, but they make excuses for it. They are not connected with how it caused pain. They rationalize it, they intellectualize it, because they are disconnected from their emotions. And there's so many people in the world who have been hurt. I think this has to do with like the whole narcissist empath. The narcissist empath, I feel like it's just another way of this is not a word, but it's probably a word I'm going to use, but binarize, like make something a binary. Humans love, I think it's just an aspect of the 3D, making things into a binary where you see opposites coming together, right? The unfeeling, avoidant, why do unfeeling, cold-hearted, avoidant narcissists attract deeply feeling, warm-hearted, open empaths? It is the opposite energies. It is the convergence. It is a great convergence that is happening right now. And the reason why a lot of people like this are on that twin flame journey, the reason why this is showing up is because that is what humanity is being tasked to do right now. And it's very difficult when you are trying to come together with a system, with energy that has caused, that just feels so repellent, basically. On a practical level, this looks like trying to come together with someone who has caused you a lot of pain. How do you do that? A lot of people, we live in a world where a lot of people are just like, wait, they don't do that, you know? So it's difficult. It's a lot of things trying to come together to see, okay, what can come together and what just can't, right? Because it takes a level of healing and ascension for these opposites to come together. There are people who will not ascend. There are energies, there are a lot of masculine energies that, and again, at the highest level, all of this is happening for a reason. So this is not dogging down the masculine energy. The feminine energy had to go through this as well. Because on the highest level, this is just a circle of life. This is balancing out even greater than just masculine feminine energies. Because as you continue to ascend, again, the masculine and feminine energy is one, it's connected. The mystic and the Skeksis, their polarities that seem so opposite, and one has done such heinous things, but then one has sort of, it's just one has been in isolation, just an inability, a difficulty looking at one another. But in order to come together, you have to see the opposite. So there are going to be things that happen in 2025. 2024 was a year of truth. It was a year of just beginning to shine light on the darkness, to expose the unspeakable things that have been happening in that darkness, behind that veil, behind the scenes. 2025 is a year that, it's going to continue, but it's going to continue to escalate, because there is an opportunity for everyone to be able to face their darkness and face their shadow and be willing and committed to ascend and do the work to just improve this aspect of your life in a way that feels authentic to you. It doesn't mean conforming to a system. If there is a system that feels like you can't come together with it because they're conforming to that system doesn't feel authentic to you, then odds are in 2025 you're no longer going to be in that system. Or you will have figured out how to fit into that system in a way that feels authentic to you if it's something that you want to keep into your life. 2025 is a year of manifestation. This was a year of manifestation as well, but 2025 is sort of like mega manifestation unfolding. It's the rainbow bridge opening. So being able to quickly manifest, being able to quickly bring opportunities into your life, there is a connection coming together. I just heard everyone's 1 second away. Just being able to just be connected, but it's going to depend on the energy. Right now, connection is feeling, it's moving away from the warmth there. It's just unhealed masculine energy having a hard time grappling control and using sort of their gadgets as a way to maintain control. But it is an illusion. And in 2025, this is going to continue happening on just a major level, where majority of people are going to be seeing how a few have been just doing unspeakable things behind the scenes and coming to light. And that's just going to bridge this gap of the illusion of control, where people are going to start to see. I think this also has to do with energy. People are going to start to see and feel their control, their power, the things that they can do that they couldn't do before, right? This is happening on so many levels. I don't want to give too many examples of this, but you can just see how this is happening on your life as well. Like, there are things that if you are doing that, if you would have tried to do in the past, it wouldn't have worked. There would have been too many restrictions and limitations on you, someone exerting their power over you. So there's freedom here. And when there's freedom, there's great manifestation ability. It's freedom to create your life, to construct your future, and what that looks like when you're not bound, when you're not in pain. When you're not blind, when you're not asleep. What does it look like? What does stability look like, right? And again, divine feminine energies, and understand that there are some, it's genderless, right? Because I've seen men who have they radiate divine feminine energy. So just keep that in mind. But for divine feminine energies, I feel like they're like, if you have been opening up to this energy because you're able to see, you're able to actually do, then you're gonna feel very connected into your spirituality. This rainbow I don't know why I can't say rainbow. I'm pretty sure there's a message in that and why I'm having a hard time saying rainbow. Maybe there's still some kind of disconnection that's happening, and just again, this convergence is bringing everything into alignment. But maybe, I wonder if Spirit is also telling me that there's still maybe a little bit of a block to um, this rainbow energy coming in. Yeah, I think that's it. Maybe not necessarily blocked, just something that needs to be lifted off so that you can see. I'm hearing the bottle. The bottle. Maybe this is connected to alcoholism. You know, that's something that definitely lowers your vibration. And if you have spiritual gifts, it can connect you to, you can hear when people, it's just like alcohol, even on a chemical level, is a depressant. You know, it pushes you down. But there are other plants, like if you think of ayahuasca, things when they say, oh, it makes you high, like not necessarily like a frantic, hallucinating kind of thing, but I don't know. There's just something about a bottle or something that's impacting it, that could be impacting a rainbow bridge for some people. That even if you are, you know, or I mean, it doesn't, I guess it depends on how it's used, because some people may, like if they're high vibration, they may like have a glass of wine and be able to better connect into a spirit. So I don't know. I don't want to read too deeply into that energy, and you'll see how it resonates for you. Okay. I want to see, is there anything else that wants to come through in the channel? I think this also, okay, so Orion, this has something to do with Orion, the energy of Orion. Orion could be helping the divine feminine, connecting into the divine feminine to help with this ascension. Those higher beings, you know, are connecting into divine feminine energies because the goal is in alignment. And during the convergence, the rainbow bridge is a way that you can more easily, you know, like your spirit guides, where you may have had to do more in the past to connect with them. Again, that energy of, oh, they're 1 second away, just call on them. There was a time when prayer was that powerful, when humans were more connected with goddess, God energy in them, and then seeing it and the entity energies mirrored out in the planetary higher celestial bodies. But understanding that those connections are them. Okay, so it could also be something with the voice and the throat chakra. Some people in 2025 with this energy, I feel like are going to be speaking light language, especially with the colors. You can actually see, if you are if your third eye is open, you can see the rainbows like emanating from the sun. It's really beautiful. The rainbow bridge is absolutely open. It's absolutely open. It also could be a message, you know, to make sure you're remaining hydrated, because water, the primordial waters, that's a way that we connect to these other dimensions as well. So just making sure that you're not consuming too much toxic liquid like alcohol, and also that you're consuming lots of water, lots of positive hydration to help with this connection. Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious also because they keep talking about aliens. I'm someone who, I had my first awakening when I was like 15 years old. But just, I've always been very connected to spirits and always had, most of my clairs have been open. But what I mean by awakening is when sort of like I had a major shift in looking at my life, the values I had, and how they're reflected by things that have been taught to me, said to me, And I had been able to sift through some things that felt authentic, but there were levels of authenticity that I did not know existed because I had never felt them, never connected with them. It's when I started to resonate with things outside of the religious paradigm I was born into. That's what I mean by a major awakening. And I feel that energy coming again, where there's going to be some kind of major awakening. So, yeah, the alien, that makes me curious, like how that, and then also there you see some of these higher level government organizations, these more secretive government organizations, you see in them releasing more information, or it's this information seems more accessible because all it takes is one person to find it. Like, they have to release it. All it takes is one person to find it, and then they can sort of blow it up and make it more accessible for people. So there's a lot of that energy happening with just again knowledge, awareness being more accessible to a larger amount of people. And it's related to deep sea, this aliens and all this other stuff coming to light. It's going to it's going to rewrite the paradigm. And it has everything to do with the convergence, everything to do with this twin flame union, everything to do with this energy of just coming together. It is the ascension into a higher dimension, into the fifth dimension. And then once humanity gets through that pivot, there's going to be an accelerated ascension. It's not going to take centuries to move back from, to move from 5D to 6D, like it did to move to 3D to 5. Because that divine is again, the judgment that has been called is that masculine energy is automatic dark night of the soul, and a judgment, a weighing of the heart, weighing the masculine heart against that of a feather. Is it heavier? If there are frozen hearts out there, you better believe it's heavier than the feather. That is what the Egyptians believed the goddess Mayat did, that the heart was weighed against the feather. And if it was too heavy, then you are going into the dark night of the soul. So judgment. It happened before where the divine masculine energy called judgment on the feminine energy. It's just that the divine masculine energy, and the way that judgment was called and the unspeakable, lost their divinity. But then they pretended to hold on to it, and it just prevented them from reaching divinity again. This is an opportunity. So whether the masculine energy reached divinity, or whether they needed a dark night of the soul, there's still opportunity to reach divinity, to make it through to the other side, to join with the divine feminine energy, go through that rainbow bridge to just a higher dimension, a higher way of living in unity and abundance and prosperity, the way that it is meant to, the way the contract was written. But there's a time limit to it, I think because the masculine energy has used time to his advantage, holding on to it to try to prolong things and giving excuses as to why that's needed. There's a time crunch to this because the convergence is happening, and the divine feminine energies will not be weighed down because of masculines that have not reached their divinity yet. It's just some kind of energy of almost like, I want to say, erasure. Like that energy is either going to ascend, or it's like they want to get stuck in 3D, but they're just not going to keep everyone down. Like, you want to go to 3D, that's fine. You're not going to keep everyone down. So they'll be off in 3D somewhere by themselves, but it's going to be erasure. They'll be replaced so that divine feminine has divine masculine. And maybe again, I felt like a lot of these masculine energies they cut themselves off from their higher self in order to continue doing unspeakable things in the dark for lifetimes, not just in one life, not just even in this life, for lifetimes. And that they have to connect. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for them. And that's why divine feminine energies, higher energies, we're just praying for them. And that's what the divine feminine energy has always been done. Because again, the masculine, there are sons, there are brothers, there are fathers, our grandfathers. Divine feminine energy loves it. That's the whole thing. That's why the masculine energy has been able to escape judgment for so long, because of the love of the divine feminine energy. But judgment has been called. Judgment has been called. We have to face judgment, face Mayat. Their hearts have to be weighed, and you can't pretend. You can't buy, you can't pay someone to take the pain from your heart. You can't pay someone to erase the things that you have done in the dark. Just because you do not speak of them does not mean Mayat will not see, does not mean the primordial waters will not feel. It's like that line in Frozen, can you face what River knows? Because if you cannot, it's... Yeah, so all of those beautiful energies are coming together right now in this great convergence. And so, we'll see. A lot of divine feminine energies are just waiting to see how things panned out. Maybe you've already seen things pan out in your life, but there's victory here. So I'm glad, divine feminine energies absolutely just a victory was needed for maintaining divinity in the midst of all of that. And then for those masculine energies that were able to maintain divinity, it's victory for you too. And for those masculine energies, experiencing the dark night of the soul, facing judgment, you have to be willing and able to see, to look at your broken pieces, feel them, lift them up, call on Great Mother Spirit to fuse them together, and call on Father God to bring them together. That is the only way. Being unable to look, to see, like for those energies who, even when seeing the unspeakable things that they have done, they're still so caught up from their hearts that they rationalize. It's just, I feel like that's when it's going to continue to get exposed, and then it's just going to keep getting magnified in their life. Because that is the call. It's gonna you have to. That is Judgment Day. There is no masculine energy on this planet. There's no energy connected to the masculine energies on this planet who will not face judgment, who are not facing judgment. Judgment is called on all of you, and all of you will face Mayat, and all of you will face the primordial waters, and it is up to you. If that feels threatening, then there are things that have been done in the past that you are not facing. We should be able, if you can look around your life right now and you're grateful for where you are, then that means that because everyone, it's not just masculine energy, everyone has faced judgment. If you can look around and you're proud of where you are right now, of where you are, what you have, what's happening in your life. I'm not saying that there are not challenging things in your life, but overall, if you are satisfied with what is manifest in your life, then you have faced your karma. And if you feel proud of what's in your life, then you are proud of your karma, because what's in everyone's life right now is their karma. Because at a Judgment Day, it balances out the energy. It balances out. So it's a beautiful time for humanity. It's a beautiful time to just be any kind of divine energy. And we will pray for the brokenhearted. We will pray for the shallow. We will pray for those who have been so twisted in pain that all they have done is cause pain. We will pray for them, because our prayers for them will only be matched with love and ascension. This is Judgment Day. This is not, energy can no longer be manipulated or taken for granted or betrayed or controlled. This is Mayat. This is the norms. This is the energy of Gebo. This is our gift. This is our higher spirit's gift to humanity right now, judgment. Judgment Day should never be scary unless you have something to be guilty of. This is judgment. If you are proud of the judgment, then just know that you have lived a good life. You have lived many good lives, because this convergence is something that has been going on for lifetimes. You know, it's like a celebratory energy. Again, there is victory here. There are blessings. There are miracles. So ride that rainbow bridge. Connect to the energies calling into you. And just, continue praying for those in need. Continue embracing, expecting, and accepting the miracles and blessings in your life and to come. All right, that's all I have for this transmission, and I'll see you all in the next one. Blessings, soul family.